She doesn't have her book with her right now.
That's okay. I do not have my book. That's not okay. I prefer to have my book, obviously.
Life happens.
Yep.
Until it abruptly doesn't, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think everybody's forgotten something at one point or another.
Mm-hmm.
Never?
Never once, huh? Alright, so we're going to start in about 1 minute. And for those of you who didn't hear, Ben has to be out the door by 7 regardless of what's going on. So let's make that our target if we can. Alright, we'll begin the meeting. We'll start with the minutes of the last meeting. Everybody got them, I'm assuming?
Yep.
Alright, I'll entertain a motion to accept them.
So move.
And I'll second. Okay, Lindsay does. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The minutes are adopted. Roll call of members.
Everybody's here.
Everybody's here. So that being done. Next thing I want to do quickly is I just want to acknowledge that the help that Jenny had given us in the past as secretary. She had to step out because of work, and then I'd like to also at this time thank Kevin Bazan for being willing to step up and help us in that capacity. So thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
What's that?
I also want to mention that I know there was stuff on Facebook
Yep.
about the stipend stuff. There is a stipend for the third.
Okay. Yeah. Do we know what the stipend is so we can put it in?
Okay. Normally, the administrator gets paid $12 an hour.
Okay.
They fill out a
So Kevin's interest is, let's see if we can hit 10 o'clock tonight.
All right.
Yeah, calling it a stipend is an error. 10.99 and later. Okay, moving on. All right, so if you haven't had a chance yet, the updates for the budget book are before you. If you want to take a couple of minutes and organize that, that's fine. If you're all set, we can just start moving. Is anybody behind at this point? Anybody need time, or are we good to go? I'll wait a moment.
Yeah, because these updates are basically what we're not doing tonight anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just begin. If we could get to Conservation Commission. Everybody take a moment to review it, and then we'll have questions, and then we'll move forward with it.
Just so everybody knows, the Board of Selectmen have not looked at this one yet, only because it just came in since our last meeting. No, we didn't.
It may well be in the pile of stuff that was put before you.
Conservation and the, oh, it was. See, when we reviewed these, conservation and the beach weren't in there yet.
Well,
Okay, it's just the town beach then.
okay.
Everything stayed the same in
Yeah,
conservation.
it's level funding. Is there any questions or objections? Then let's take a, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's approved. All right. Next, we'll hit debt services, which was eluding me, and yet randomly just opened to it just now. Let's take a moment and review that.
Is there any change to that one?
The only change is there was a
Interest on it.
increase on the sewer, the bond payment there's an interest on that, and increase on that, and there's an decrease on the interest for the bond, and then there's an increase in the interest on a TAN.
The what?
TAN, the interest for a TAN.
And that was the 3,000?
$2,500.
$2,500 increase there. But these are pretty much fixed numbers.
Yeah. Is there any other discussion on this particular item? I'll accept the motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the debt services line as written.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm going to abstain because I'm not looking at it.
Okay. So, that will be recorded.
What did you say, Lindsay?
I'm just not voting because I'm not looking at it. I'm waiting for my budget book real quick, so I don't have it in front of me.
Is your budget book is your,
You should be voting on something that you...
one second. Well, she didn't. She abstained.
Yeah.
Is your budget book on its way?
It's on its way,
We're gonna-
expecting
we're
it to
gonna-
walk through the door any moment.
Well, I was gonna say, we can pause.
Well, what's next?
What's next after that is emergency management.
Oh, because that wasn't an updated one.
Right.
We can, yeah. No, I agree. We can wait.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kevin. Kevin, I'll start including the figure. I'll start including the figure when I make a motion.
I appreciate that, thank you.
I apologize. Thank you, John.
That was pretty quick, actually. I'm glad we took all that time to wait.
Sorry about that.
Don't be sorry, life happens. So the next one up is emergency management. We'll wait about 30 seconds to let Lindsay get her stuff opened up. Now, this one went in the right direction.
Yeah, emergency management was a decrease. There was a slight increase on the training side, but then a decrease on the equipment and the advertising and the generator maintenance.
Let me know when you're caught up. Okay.
Thank you.
We have emergency management now?
Yep.
Any other comments?
I'm asking why it's going down.
As I say, they move money around, but it seems to be in the right way. Yep.
What was the line, the first responder pay from state?
That was for the police department, that was the 8 weeks for the police, ambulance, and, fire.
But it's not needed any longer because that line has moved into its own, that ambulance has moved into,
No, that's just a one-time thing, that
Oh.
the grant, the stipend grant.
thank you. It's a grant, I missed grant.
Doing my math again because increase of 50 and a decrease of 250.
Yeah, that's 800 decrease. It's $801 decrease on my paperwork at least. What's your bottom line say, Teresa?
14,967.
Oh,
Mine
mine says
15,000.
15,067.
Mine says that, but,
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's,
Yeah, it's $15,067.
Eight, and then eight, that's good, okay. All right, I'm happy with that. Yep.
You good?
If we're all good, I'll accept the motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the emergency management budget of $15,067 as written.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, it's approved. Next up is executive.
Under executive.
Must be missing tabs.
Yeah, it's that tab with nothing in it, on the bottom. Yep, that one right there. That should be executive office. Yeah, some of mine fell out too.
So in,
What are we talking about?
Answer yes or no, I don't know. They have discussed it. They're doing personal administration tomorrow. It's not in my budget.
Yeah, but one of the things I wanted to get in the back of my mind is whether you guys were going to ask, whether the council will approve or just, negate any kind of
What we're gonna do though is put it in personal administration like we did last year, and then if the board decides that they wanna give us an increase, they will disperse it in July after they can reviews, rather than going through and putting them in individual line items. This way you're not gonna do.
It's American, it's under the personnel.
Correct, right.
It could be, we don't know, that it hasn't been disclosed yet, it could be up to 2%.
Right, and in the past, we used to always put up to 3% everybody's individual line, but then the following year came and it looked like there was a decrease, because not everybody got their up to 3%. So this way, if we keep it all separate under personal administration, disperse it as it's supposed to, then the line item should match up.
And you always, at the end of the year, what you always have, is not everybody's gonna get 3%. You're gonna obviously, probably 99% of the time, have money left in that line. item.
So it'll be in personal administration, not in an individual
Right,
line item.
but that personal administration, that line item is gonna have, on the positive side, it's not gonna,
Can't overdraw it.
you can't overdraw, but you also, I mean, I find it difficult to believe that every single person is gonna 3%.
Not everybody.
Right.
All right,
I just want to know that before I move on to these.
Correct, and we have personal administration on the select board's agenda for tomorrow.
okay. So now we'll move on to executive, so feel free to flip to that page on your book and we'll take a look.
I think that's where she was.
Okay. So we cut the budget by 500 in training?
Training, yes.
Do we not have people to be trained?
No,
Just you?
just Carrie, that's it.
Each department has their own, they have a training plan,
Right.
it's just for me.
Ah, that one's just Carrie, and she's been through most of the trainings needed.
So we've cut the grant writer in half?
Grant writer is now in a capital reserve account.
Perfect.
Is that an existing capital reserve?
I'm sorry, Lindsay, what?
Is that an existing capital reserve?
We did it move to now? We did a grant writer move to.
But there's still 2,500 in that line.
Yes.
Why is that?
We have money in capital reserve for the grant writer. We put it in there because we didn't have any funds for the grant writer. We're trying to work it into the budget, so then once the grant writer's capital reserve is gone, then we'll just use from the budget, we're trying to work it into the budget.
Or the other way around?
I think it's the other way around.
Yeah.
So basically,
You're trying to move it over to a capital reserve, but you have to build the capital reserve and still have money in the regular budget. Gotcha.
so the bottom line went down though, right here.
About $2,600.
Mhm. Is there a second?
Executive office, at $77,364.
I'll second that.
I just had an additional question.
Absolutely.
What was the thought process behind moving the grant writer out of the regular budget and into a capital?
No. I remember having the discussion. I don't remember the details well enough to, that I could explain it.
I don't know if I'm accurate, but wasn't it that we don't move it into the capital reserve because the grant writer is gonna be utilized by all these projects?
I mean, that was,
The grants are for everybody, not just.
right,
So
that was,
that's why I thought that that was the reason why that it moved into the capital reserve. So
yeah, I mean, from what I can remember, it was more just to keep things cleaner. I mean, it was hard to have a grant writer in under Carrie's budget and try to do fire department grants or highway grants
That's
and,
what, I mean,
right.
everybody's gonna utilize it.
I think we did a lot of moving and shifting last year to kind of clean up the budgets, and put things where they should be,
Mm-hmm.
make it cleaner, like Ben said.
And then is the plan to fund that yearly with a set dollar amount, or until you get to a certain amount, or?
Well, yeah, it'll be funded yearly. I mean, we'll have to. We need the grant writer.
That's all I have, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Well, the motion was made and seconded, so we'll call it now. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's approved. Off to financial. Financial? We went up $10 whole on accounting assistant. And the software support that, I'm assuming cost of licensing and whatnot? Yeah.
With the VMSI.
Mhm. Does anyone have any questions on this one?
I'm just reviewing something real quick.
Mm-hmm. point that that's there, we've got,
Kevin already got a pay decrease.
And then I also lowered the budget committee's, expenses because we kind of just reuse the books
Right.
each year.
I'm all set.
okay. Anyone have any questions about this?
I'll make a motion to approve the financial administration budget of $116,173.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? It's approved as read. See what we can buy for a forest fire. Forest fire is the next one.
The forestry budget's the same as last year's.
Yeah, practically it's $100 more.
Unless I got the wrong page, mine's the same. What do you got for a number?
I've got 161,490.
You're on the wrong page.
Am I?
That's not forest fire.
That's fire.
Oh, I'm just on the fire
Fire's
budget.
after forest fire.
$13,100.
I was gonna say, there's only 13,000.
You haven't, have you,
Now I'm on the right one, and it looks a lot better. You are
Are we-
correct, it is the same as last year. Any questions or observations here? Okay, I'll accept a motion to approve this as read.
I will make the motion to approve the Forest Fire Department budget as written for $13,100.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Approved as read. Government buildings. A significant decrease.
Did
Well,
you
I
say
see
a
it.
significant decrease?
It seems to be. It went from 221 to 194. It's statistically significant.
Oh,
It's going down by $20,000.
Yeah, that's a decrease.
but in this year, it was overspent.
But in what year?
So last year's requested budget was 194 and 221 was actually spent.
We had a lot of maintenance done on the buildings that year.
What do you get I got 191 on last year's actual, 191,994.
Last year's budget was 209, last year's actual was 191.
Right.
This year, that we're currently in is budgeted for 221.
Right.
Now,
So we did not overspend last year.
So we
Maybe there was a change after, maybe I'm missing something. I'll continue to look at the budget book.
It was a $5,000 reduction.
Boiler in this building
That's right.
made a big difference.
That's right.
And the price of oil has gone down since 3-4 years ago.
you were still involved anyway, right?
And the bridge alarms was moved over here.
Yep, from the fire department budget.
I suppose that makes sense. Anyone have any questions or considerations?
Why did the encumbered funds go down so, last year's actual go up so much to this year's budget right now?
The encumbered funds were just
else have any questions? All right.
I'm still really confused about this year's budget, because I'm looking
Okay.
at two budget sheets from last year's budget books
Mhm.
that say proposed next year's budget, which is what would show up as this year's budget, 210. And then the update from November of 2019 is 194. So from November 14, 2019 to this document here, the proposed went from 194 to 221.
That's because the board actually did internal transfers during a budget meeting. They transferred, if you remember, the, audit used to be in financial, they moved it over to general government. And then there was another one that we transferred over. The town report. The town report was in financial, and we transferred that over to general government. And I requested that just because the audit, it doesn't only audit just the financial department, it's the whole town, that's why I requested it to move over there. And same with the town report isn't only the financial town report, it's the everybody, so that's why I requested it to go to the general government. So that's why the bottom line increased from one year to the other.
Thank you, Amy.
Any other questions or thoughts? If not, I'll accept the motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the buildings operation and maintenance budget of 194,809.
Did you say 194,809?
That's what I have in my book.
That's what we have.
I don't have that, I have 193.
You may have an update.
Did you get the update?
I'm looking. Yeah, that was one of our update sheets. Thank you.
Okay, there we go. Wait a minute, let me just.
Yep, take your time.
Write this, my notes on the side.
Take your time, Kevin's hourly.
You just give me a gift card.
Yeah, but I'm first in line.
Okay,
Is there a second to Ben's motion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? All right, it's approved as read. All right, next is highway block grants.
Which is only $1.
I think we ought to spend a lot of time thinking about this one.
I make a motion to approve the highway block grant line at $1.
Is there a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Off to the vote.
That's an easy budget for the whole year, guys.
Yeah.
So this is more or less a level budget from last year.
Yeah, we do, there's a couple lines that were decreased just because we haven't been using as much, so. Took $200 out of the dog and cat line item, for Humane Society, and took $500 out of the line item for, property sales expenses.
Anyone have any questions about this one? We'll say any day you have cats and dogs mentioned in the budget's always a good day.
So the expenses went up substantially, all right? The legal expenses on that
Yeah, if they have less, I mean, plan for the worst, hope for the best, I think is that line.
The what?
I'm looking at that, I suspect that's one of those where you just put a blanket budget in, and then you probably don't expect to ever hit that.
Yeah,
That blanket budget, if you look on the first line, that attorney's fees for the selectmen has gone up $8,000, so it's more than a light blanket.
It didn't go up, it went down.
It says 32.
And that's the actual, not the,
that's how much was,
in
yeah.
case you need 40. And so legal expenses, I assure you, they're expensive.
The year before, it was 35 that was actually spent. So you haven't hit that 40 in a couple of years.
The last couple of years, it's been just about 30, right?
32, 35, so. Is there anything on the agenda that the select board might be privy to that warrants additional need in that line?
Not currently.
Again, it's hard when we're 18 months out, who knows what could happen.
Yeah,
Oh, I know.
especially when you're talking about a legal line item, paying the attorney.
Yeah, but sometimes what you need to do is look back on the prior years and see.
Yeah,
And I know we're looking 18 months out, but every little bit helps. And
Yeah.
It's not like a budget is, oh my God, type of thing, but you know,
we could cut
2 or
10,
3 years,
what do you,
2 or 3 years, you're getting an average of 30,000.
3 years ago, we had 75,000.
Well, and
I was gonna say we could probably, I was originally gonna say 10%, but, we could probably cut like 5,000 off of that. Bring it to 35, that's the most we've spent in the last 2 years.
just for clarification, 2 years ago, under legal expense, under, ending in 110,
Yep,
you budgeted 45 and 29,000 was spent.
yep.
Was that because it belonged in a different line, or was that additional legal expense that didn't fall under attorney fees? It seems to be a one-off spike, but that money came from someplace in the budget and it wasn't from here because it wouldn't have been there.
Yeah, I don't have that paperwork in front of me, so I don't know the answer to that.
I'm just trying to figure, because even with Lawrence, East Lawrence expense, the actual was 6,600, and the last year was 8,000, that's 1,500, 1,400. I mean, I feel a little bit, I want to have a pattern, but do I want a pattern of $8,000? I guess I would.
Well,
Say my initial thing right now is, no, I don't want to add $8,000.
okay.
But that doesn't mean the rest of you people don't want to add $8,000.
No,
I don't like the word padding.
Yeah.
I think that's a bad budget word.
Whatever it is.
If 8 grand is needed elsewhere, I'd rather see it appropriated to the line where it's needed,
That's,
as opposed to bottom line budget be brought up.
I'd rather have it where it's,
So would you rather see this bottom line of this budget we're looking at down to like, what would that be, 77? 67.5, I mean?
wait a minute.
What he's saying is taking 8,000 out of the,
Well, that was 7,000.
7,000 out of the attorney fee for selectmen.
7,000,
That would leave 33,000.
Well, I was thinking 5,000 out of the selectman attorney fee and 2,000 out of the expenses.
1,400, and then
That's what I was looking at.
Mm-hmm.
an average of 35 off 14, I'm looking at 6,400 to take out of that, because an average of the 33
Yep.
And then you look at the Lawrence expansion, which is almost like 1400 less debt, so it's 1464. Take out 6400 out of the 74,500. But.
Okay. How much did you say you wanted to see come out of the expenses? Out of the 4,500? You wanted to take, what'd you say, 13?
14.
14?
Like that would, that one, would actually cost, instead of 8,000, would be
66?
56, right? 66.
66.
60, well, did you say 5,000 and 1,400?
Yeah, 14.
Oh, yeah, no, that's only 6,000.
Then it would be 68,1 for the final bottom line.
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable taking any money out of the Lawrence fund. That is mandatory by the state testing of wells, and there are times where we have to drill the wells. So I don't feel comfortable taking the money from that line item.
But your actuals in the last couple of years out of that line item has been,
Well, last year was slightly underspent, but 2 years ago was actually overspent. It was
Yeah, that,
how much was it overspent?
almost $1,000. So just, yeah, 968.
So 8,000 seems to be the right
That
spot for
one's hard
them.
to go by and put a number out there because it all depends when they get on site what they have to do, and it's state regulated.
yeah, and that's all regulated by DES. It's completely out of our control. Whatever they say has to happen, we have to do.
So how about we just take 5,000 out of the legal attorney fees for the selectmen and
1,400 out of the expenses, legal expenses.
yeah. Everybody understand where we're at?
Yeah, so you're proposing the attorney fees for the selectmen at 35,000 and the legal expenses at 3,100, correct?
Correct.
For a total bottom line of 68,100.
Yep.
I make a motion to approve that 68,100 to the issue of legal expenses accounts as noted by.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? It passes as amended. That's 68,000.
Okay.
All right, other government.
OGG.
I refrained, but I did hear it in my brain, so.
Yeah.
All right.
That's just our dues to the New Hampshire Municipal Association.
I'll ask you the same question I asked the school board last year. Why is the onus on us to pay the dues for the select board?
What's that?
You said it was for the select board, right? For the dues?
Yeah, so that's a,
I don't see select board, but that's,
No, I'm sorry, when you said that, I assumed you were saying that on behalf of the select board.
oh, it's, the selectmen use it, the town administrator uses it, Margaret uses it, Amy uses it.
So,
I mean,
why are we
it's
paying-
not necessarily a free legal service, I don't wanna say that, because obviously we gotta pay dues, but for $3,300, we get a lot of good legal help from them. I mean, they won't,
Classes and all kinds of.
yeah, they do classes and trainings, they do all the highway, trainings for the highway department.
and they also offer updates to any statutory requirements you might have, and they
Yep.
alert you and keep an eye on all of those kinds of things so that you're in compliance.
For the $3,300, you more than get your money's worth at the end of the year.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve budget as written.
Is there a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
3,300, sorry, Kevin. Patriotic,
Patriotic.
it went down $100.
That seems unpatriotic.
$1,000.
Any discussion or thoughts on this?
I'll make a motion to approve the patriotic, $1,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It passes as read. Property records.
Property records was a slight decrease,
Actually, that is slight.
like about $300.
Just using a flyer now to get rid of things. So we took 500 out of software support. That's unusual. Did we get a bargain on software?
Why did you reduce software support?
Yeah, I've never seen a software line go down before. That just throws me off.
Last year it was a little less spent, but 2 years ago it was right on at 3475, so.
I'm not sure, Carrie, who's,
It's for Avatar.
oh,
The software support is for Avatar?
Yes.
Is that a contract?
No, contract is up top at $28,992.
Yeah.
Any thoughts or questions about this one?
I think Carrie's, they're still trying to answer Lindsay's question.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yes, so it is two separate, so I didn't drop that. So the support is what we call it support, and the contracted service for Avatar is the verification every year, and then the 5-year.
Okay, it should say program support rather, because it's more following up with Avatar directly when you have questions about how they've done something. It's not really about their computer system.
It can be.
Okay.
Yeah.
It would definitely be helpful for it to be identified as more what you're utilizing. Software says, I think to me, it has something to do with the computer system that you're using.
Okay, so I'll just go ahead and anywhere where it says software support, I'll just put program support.
Yeah, that'll work. I'll make a motion to approve the property records line at $34,395.
Is there a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved as read. Recreational.
I will make a motion to approve recreational at $1.
Is there a second? All right.
What
all
are
in
the
favor?
usual things that recreation would include?
We haven't had anything in a long time that would fall into recreational. We just keep it, the line item open in case all of a sudden there's a grant available to assist with the playground or something like that. At least we have a line item to be able to use if something became available. That's the only reason we keep $1 in it.
I think way back when, it used to be for the ELM Center,
Right.
years and years ago.
Is it a relevant line item in your budget? When's the last time it was used?
a long time. I don't, before Amy, so it's been a real long time.
So, I mean, just to be clear, if you, correct me if I'm wrong, you can add that line back into your budget at any point in time when it's funded. The point for keeping $1 here is if in some time in the next year, you think you might have money to put into it and you want that line available for the money.
Right.
But you don't have to keep that line there every year with just $1 if you don't anticipate that you're going to utilize that line.
But I think they keep it there because say the community center does not give their amount that they ask for, and then you have a softball program come up, they can, the community center can come over, ask the town, the select board has some place within the budget that they can transfer funds into there to cover the softball game, soccer, whatever the sports.
But that money would still have to come out of your regular budget.
Correct, but they will give it a line item to transfer it to.
Oh, I understand that concept, that it gives it a line item to transfer it to. My point is that you haven't utilized it or needed it for how many years. It kind of is just a,
Just because the community center's always getting their,
Right.
what they ask for.
Right, the community center's always got their warrant article approved at voting, but we've always, I feel strongly about keeping the $1 there just in case we have to help with the recreation for the kids. I mean, if we have to help, I'd like to have a way to be able to help.
Alright, so if I remember correctly, there is a motion to accept in a
Yep.
second. So is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
I,
All opposed? It passes as read. Okay, Southwest Regional Planning.
That's contracted price, right?
Those are the dues that,
That's the dues. I'll make a motion to approve the Southwest Regional Planning Commission line at $5,000.
Is there a second? So let me ask, so this is dues to Southwest Planning.
Regional Planning Commission.
Okay.
Right, not Southwest the Housing Authority.
Thank you.
Yep. Two different entities.
Yep, no, we're good.
Yep. I knew right where you were going with that.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I.
All opposed? Passed as read. For 5,000. And then the last thing we're gonna do tonight is the street lights. Every time I see this number, I'm always simultaneously amazed it's that much and then suddenly amazed it's not more.
I don't understand why it's that much, because last year's budget was budgeted $26,000, and it actually got spent by over $2,000. How much does it cost how many streetlights does that include? And how much does each streetlight cost to replace it?
Well, I suspect that's the issue, I suspect, because a light is expensive.
A light is expensive, that still doesn't tell me anything.
Right.
Yeah, well,
I'm
a
not
couple
an
years,
engineer.
I don't have those numbers in front of me, Teresa, but a couple years ago, the biggest reason why there was such a big overspent amount was because we went around and checked all the lights in town to find out which ones were out and which ones were still working, and we had all of them, any of them that were out were all fixed all at the same time.
Okay, so why are we asking for more this year? Next year, twice as more, if we just so recently replaced all the streetlights that were out?
I believe, if I remember correctly, that's just the rate, the increase in the electric rates. That's what the projected number is with the increase.
So this is not the replacement of streetlights, this is
No.
actually the cost that we give to Eversource.
Eversource,
for
right.
non-streetlights.
Yep. How much it costs us to keep the streetlights on.
I misspoke.
I'll make a motion to approve the streetlights budget at $29,200.
Is there a second? I couldn't hear you, Walter.
She seconded
Okay.
it.
So moved.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Passes as read. Is there anything that needs to come before us today?
Yes,
Okay.
the school board does have something that needs to come before the budget committee today. The school board has a request for the budget committee. As we all recall, last year with warrant article number 6, which was approved by the budget committee and then voted in the positive for the school, Article 6 was the large list of projects to be done under the $550,000. With COVID, we have identified a greater need for an air quality improvement in several of our rooms in the elementary school. And we are asking that the budget committee under Chapter 32, Section 3211, we're asking that the budget committee please consider, motion, and approve to allow the school board to redirect the remaining funds from that warrant article, specifically from the third floor project, because that's the project that was not pressing and so didn't need to be done before school came back. There's money left from that specific project, and we're asking the budget committee to allow us to divert it to the air quality project instead.
So that's money that's part of the original 550.
It's part of the original 550.
You're just asking to use it on something, on a different project. Yeah, I'm good with that.
How much is left in that right now?
We are currently hammering down what is left, where we've asked for all of the final bills from the other projects that were included in that 550, and so we're not 100% sure what's left out of that 550. But we need the motion and approval from the budget committee. The school board has already voted to request that of the budget committee, and then the DRA still needs to approve it at the state level. So
you're not asking to spend any money you haven't already been allocated, just you want to spend it different?
correct.
How much, we don't know exactly how much is left.
We don't.
50 yet. How much is it gonna cost to make air quality? Do you have any kind of estimate?
More than what's left.
Where are you gonna get the money to cover that?
So right now, as we figure out what's left from this, and we figure out what might be left from any COVID funds, and we figure out what might be left from what the town is able to utilize from their COVID funds, our facilities manager is looking at our capital reserve and what we had slated for projects within this year in order to draw from.
Is there any federal grant money out there that will?
No, in fact, FEMA recently, we had this conversation at the last select board meeting when, or 2 select board meetings ago rather, when the school asked the select board if we could use some of their COVID money. FEMA has advised that there's no federal money available for some of these kinds of improvements to air quality that need to be made.
Okay, so if we voted tonight for, to allow you guys to do that, would you immediately start doing that and give us a report of how much was left?
Yes, as soon as
You wanted approval right now. So
we
you
need
can
the
start.
approval so that we can start that process at the state to have that to have them sign off on it. I'm hoping that at our board meeting on Thursday we might even have that final number of what's left.
All right, I make a motion to approve the request of Chairman of the School Board, Lindsay Pickard, to utilize the remaining balance from Article 6 of the
20.
2020 that was approved by the town to something,
Redirect
redirect the money for use in the
air quality.
air quality control at the Winchester School.
Yep.
Is there a second?
I'm gonna second it, but I do have a couple more questions before we call the motion.
Of course.
Or, 'cause I have no problem doing it, I'm just curious. So the third floor part of the project hasn't been even started?
A couple of small things have been done on the third floor. There was some demo that happened and some roughing in of a couple of walls in preparation. They were like the rainy day project that the contractor was working on when they couldn't work on the roof, but
Right.
nothing substantial.
Okay, so of the 550,000, I don't know how else to phrase that category, so of the $550,000 category, so you've used some of the money, obviously, to do the roof and stuff, but not all of it.
Correct.
And I know, I understand because it's coming as adequacy aid from the state, it's money you gotta spend and then get reimbursed later. However, I'm just curious because the school had put in a request for extra payments for 3 months to be able to do these projects. And the town gave the school $840,000 to do $550,000 worth of projects, but then only a portion of the 550's been spent. So I'm curious, where did the rest of the $840,000 get used for projects? Because that's what we were asked for the money for, was for projects.
Well, the money wasn't, the increase request for 3 months wasn't solely for the projects.
Oh, that's what the request was that I read.
The main reason was the projects because the general fund didn't have that money in it to utilize. But there were other projects that have happened outside of that 550 that also needed to be done that were part of our capital plan. And there were other expenses that came up because of COVID and the way that last year ended, that needed to be covered as well.
What's your apprehension then?
Well, the numbers just don't add up, but, I mean, I'm not against you, if there's extra money from that you'll be getting, that they were getting reimbursed from the state in the adequacy fund, the one-time adequacy aid. I have no problem using it in another part of the school. I'm just,
But that's basically what we're voting on now.
that's what we're voting on now. I'm just trying to figure out, because, like I stated, I don't know if you were, aware, I think we mentioned it at the last meeting or whatever, but the school had put a request to the select board, for 3 months. They were gonna need a little bit of extra money to do projects. That's the update I read. It was $280,000 a month. So it's $840,000 extra on top of the regular payments that the school's been paid in the last 3 months.
So I guess we're gonna have to have some detailed information on the time that the school budget needs us, what was utilized, because what my concern is right now, and I get what you're saying, but what my concern is right now is that, first of all, the money that is left over on that Article 6, it could be utilized that's been utilized, like, in what rooms, do you know, like, what areas of the school now, like, is it classrooms where the teachers and staff and students are there all the time right now?
It's classrooms that we're not currently able to utilize because they didn't pass the air quality.
Okay.
Which is most of the elementary school, isn't it?
Was a majority of the area, yes.
Right.
The most prevalent is in the elementary school.
Yes.
Right.
That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that.
And to be clear, we did indeed ask for an increase for those 3 months and a decrease in the subsequent 9 because we needed the money up front in our budget as opposed to at the end of the budget when we tried to work with the town on not receiving funds sometimes as well. So that money wasn't just for the projects, but it did front load the summer projects.
So what I'm saying, I get what both of you are saying.
Right. I still second.
They may have a lot to answer, I mean, they may have a lot of questions concerning that when it comes time for budget time. Right now, I think they just need to vote to acknowledge so they can utilize the money to do it for the air quality control.
Right, right.
The chair will recognize James.
What's that?
Yes,
I was just thinking if they may know this week at the meeting, how about waiting until the next budget meeting to see how much of the 550 is left before you.
so our next meeting is gonna be November 17th. I'm not certain that's
Yeah, that's a month away.
Yeah, I'm not certain that would be in anybody's interest, only because of the amount of time. If it was next week, I'd maybe agree.
Yeah, I mean, it would be, that's why I'm looking at that, I made the motion right away, because the safety of the staff is a concern.
The way I look at it, it's money they've been already approved for. If there's no additional taxation, they just want to spend it in a different area. I don't have any issue with that.
Right, that's what
Well, my thought is they come down here every week holding us, counting up the numbers, and they don't know how much money left, that's my point.
James, you're welcome to join us at a school board meeting, but at this venue, I can't answer that question because I'm not the chair. It's kind of inappropriate.
Okay. Is there
Well, for
any
this purpose, I still second the motion.
any other discussion? All right, all in favor?
Alright,
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. You have the.
just so
Thank
the
you.
budget
When
committee,
Oh, go ahead.
just so the budget committee members are aware, tomorrow night at 6, the select board's meeting with both libraries, to go over their budgets, so I don't know,
The library will meet with them on the 17th, or the 21st.
are they coming in on then?
Yes.
Okay,
So our next meeting is, November 17th, 6 o'clock. And then we have the Saturday morning meeting on the 21st. And that starts at 9.
We had originally penciled in the 27th of October.
right,
Oh,
And we were canceling that because we already got through all
yes.
the budgets we could until.
yeah, we had penciled it in case we needed it, but.
So make it
So November 17th, I'm not gonna be, so I'm not gonna be top Thursday.
All right, so I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.